Here's one of the latest interviews from Rock and Metal Revival. If you want to hear the whole show, go to rmrshow.com. From the brand new Testament album, Brotherhood of the Snake, there is 7 Seals right here on Rock and Metal Revival. And, dude, I'm telling you right now.
Just pound your head in.
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't been this excited about an album in a long time, and we are fortunate enough to have on the phone with us the voice of Testament, Mr. Chuck Billy. Thanks for coming on the show, Chuck.
Hey, man, what's going on? Thanks for having me.
It is great to have you back on the show, and, you know, I can't hardly say this without, you know, this might be the best Testament release to date. I mean, how do you feel about this? I mean, I went through your old catalogs, and I'm really loving this.
Well, it's, you know, you're always trying to outdo yourself and chase that ultimate mix, and, you know, I think this one, a lot of it really came together. The songs and the production of the songs and, yeah, everything. It just has, you know, when we set out to do this record, we set out to definitely make it more thrashy, and I definitely say we did that.
Well, you know, being one of the kings of thrash metal, it's got to feel good that you've influenced so many bands over the years. You guys kind of went back to old school Testament on this release. Well,
exactly. Well, you know, a lot of it, you know, Eric, you know, I give that to Eric. You know, Eric's fortunately being a guy who has kind of doesn't really listen to a lot of other stuff. He's really locked into his black metal bands that he likes, and
nice,
you know, and puts that element into Testament. But so he's kind of writes in his own world, and he always writes current. We never write songs from. We always write enough songs for the current records. We don't, you know, bring back songs from years ago that we've done, you know, that are on the shelf. So. You know, I give that to Eric. He always keeps it modern and to date and fresh. And I think this record, he really outdid himself, you know, especially adding the more thrash in every song.
Yeah, yeah. You got a lot of different subject matter going on in like the 7 Seals and then gambling with blackjack and can of business and stuff. Was that something you were going for?
Well, you know, the record actually started off, the first song was actually Brotherhood of the Snake. And when we went into the lyric process of this record, Eric really wanted to me to get off the like personal subjects, because we were doing a lot of that over the last couple of records. Mm-hmm. Really wanted to come up with kind of a visual, conceptual record. We can write some cool songs and have some cool lyrics and write some stories about. And I kind of found the Brotherhood of the Snake, which basically was a secret society formed over 6,000 years ago, that basically believed that aliens created mankind to serve as slaves on Earth to mine for its gold. Cool. So I was kind of like, well, you know what? That's kind of very visual right there. And kind of, you know, the whole alien aspect. And at that time, I'd actually been watching this Ancient Aliens program on television. And it was documenting how all these, you know, thousands of years ago, the sightings of the same kind of beings and flying objects, you know, thousands of years kind of documented, and it just kind of made me think, you know. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to go with, we're going to start with that. And Brotherhood of the Snake was the first song we wrote, and Eric really liked that as the title of the record. So that's kind of what took form of the first 5 tunes, you know, 7 Seals, and all of them kind of, you know, was in that secret society and, you know, the planet kind of stuff.
Awesome. You know, I saw right after you completed the recording of this, you guys flew to Europe and started touring. Is it easier for you to record, Chuck, or would you rather be out on tour?
I like them both. I mean, this one was much different because this record, we put a lot of effort into writing this for a few years, and we kind of forced ourselves in the studio to get it done if we wanted a record this year before we went to Europe. Mm-hmm. So we basically just booked the studio time unprepared, really. We didn't do a demo. We didn't rehearse as a band. We kind of just took a bunch of the riffs and parts, and I had a lot of lyrics, and kind of just went in the studio and went for it, you know, because we really wanted to have a record. And I think maybe some of that, you know, back against the wall, kind of maybe just, you know, lit a little fire under our ass and and made it forced us to kind of get it done, I guess, you know.
Are there any these songs you're going to play live?
Oh, yeah. Right now we got about 4. That's probably we're working on into the new set.
Nice.
Okay. Well, hey, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about breaking bands. What made you want to delve into management side of the industry? I just think of a iconic frontman. Why would you want to do the management part?
Well, I thought it was kind of a natural thing. I've been, working hand in hand really close with Testament and within, the record aspect or touring aspect of it. I've got 30 years into it. So I was approached by Maria and Johnny, and was kind of asked a year ago if I was interested in doing it. And at first, I said yeah, but I wasn't ready. And then, kind of a year and a half later, they came and asked again. And at that point, I said, you know what? Let's go for it. And at the time, I think Maria was already working with Exodus, so we started with Exodus, and pretty quickly after that, took on a few other acts, and grew from there. I thought it was a natural progression, because Maria's actually worked for Megaforce, who signed Testament, and Johnny owned Megaforce Records.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a pretty strong team.
So I've been watching on your on Facebook. You guys have been doing this countdown where you're counting down to the release of this album.
Yeah.
Whose idea was that? Because that's really cool. Where you talk about a couple songs for each one.
We did a little bit of that last year, but we did a little more. The guy we used last year, Tommy Jones, did our video and a lot of that footage. Well, now he works for Nuclear Blast
okay.
for the label. So there was a little more involvement, I guess, on their part, when it came to that this time.
Well, Chuck, listening to rock radio right now with this big buzz about the new Metallica album and the last two Anthrax albums being critically acclaimed, and everything I've heard about this new album, and even from listening to it, I think thrash metal's on the way back to the forefront in metal. Do you feel that way?
I wouldn't say to the front, but I think all, especially bands, veteran bands like a lot of them you just mentioned, I'd say at this point are just kind of comfortable at what we do and what we've probably all of us have gotten better at.
Yeah.
Over time, I think we've all just enjoy it more and probably are into it more. And it makes for better music.
Is there a young thrash band out there, Chuck, that you think everybody's missing out on?
I'm sure there is, but I know there's a lot of thrash bands that I see coming out that I still like to see, and and we run into bands like Battlecross or Ex Mortis or
Nice.
Whitechapel or bands like that. We see that are pounding that flag of fast, aggressive music. So yeah, it's nice.
So you got a really busy tour coming up here, going over to Europe, right?
Yeah. Actually, getting on a plane at 8 a.m. tomorrow.
Woo.
Start rehearsals tomorrow night over in Germany,
Nice.
and we start first shows Friday night.
Man, and you got I was just looking at the dates, and it's like, holy crap, you got like 5 days in a row, and then
There's 6 days a week.
Yeah,
it's 6 days
crazy.
a week for 5 weeks.
Well, how does your voice hold
manage
up?
that?
Yeah.
Well, on this one, we're not the headliner. We're doing 50 minutes on this show, so 50 minutes.
Still.
Because we've been building up the last couple of years doing an hour and a half plus shows, so 50 minutes should be pretty easy, I think, I would say.
I guess we'll find out.
Yes, we're going to find out, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Chuck, what's the plan for Testament in 2017? Are we going to see a U.S. tour?
Yeah, for sure. We're actually kicking off 2017 with 70,000 tons of metal, leaving out of Florida. And then we're actually going to do Asia, Australia, Japan, and then right after that, April and May, we're coming back to America for a full-on headline tour.
Excellent.
Sweet.
And that's been worked on, and I think it'll probably be announced, probably over the next 2-3 weeks.
Outstanding,
Cool.
outstanding.
So are there any tracks on the new album you think could have benefited from some cowbell? Because I think Cannabis could have used a little bit, maybe.
I would say that's probably the only one.
I just got to have that groove. Yeah, just kind of needed.
Yeah. Air cowbell.
Yeah. But turn it up to 11.
Turn it up to 11.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, Chuck, we appreciate your time today for coming on Rock and Metal Revival. We're gonna play the title track Brotherhood of the Snake. You want to tell us, what's this song like for you to do live?
Well, honestly, we haven't done it yet.
Yeah, what's it going to be like?
We haven't even rehearsed this one yet.
All right.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
So it's going to have a great vibe. I'm sure it's going to rock. These songs, they just had a feeling right from the get-go when you heard them.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
I know, that these ones are going to hit hard. So
nice.
Looking forward to it.
Well, Chuck Billy, it is always an honor to have you, and you're always welcome on Rock and Metal Revival. Thanks for your time.
Well, thank you for playing Brotherhood of the Snake, man. Keep pumping it up for us, man.
To catch the whole show of Rock and Metal Revival, all you have to do is check it out on these affiliates. Mega Rock Radio's on Saturdays from 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and on Uncontrolled Noise Tuesdays at 1 a.m., Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and on Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern on UncontrolledNoise.com. And make sure that you leave them a message and tell them that you found Rock and Metal Revival on their stations.